I think it would be intellectually impossible and even artificial to try to link totally the three topics which you have touched upon. So I will very modestly launch the debate by asking three questions. One to Hubert Védrine and Joschka Fischer. What we have seen in the last few days has been the self-isolation process of one country that is not very represented here, Great Britain. And the paradox of it is that when listening to you, and the evolution of Joschka was even more interesting, I had the feeling that France and Germany had agreed on a vision of Europe that was in many ways much closer to the British vision of Europe. By default, that would have been the case otherwise. And you have the British self-excluding themselves of the kind of Europe they wanted most in the past, one that is really guided by the nation states of Europe. When you listen to President Sarkozy, he's in fact saying implicitly, Europe is too serious a thing to be left to Eurocrats. The nations of Europe has to save the European cause from the most ideological Europeans. And in this present conjuncture, the British have opted out in the most negative manner for themselves and maybe for Europe vis-à-vis the markets and the global credibility of the European Union. What's your reaction to that comment? Hubert or Joschka, who wants to start? Joschka, you will...
Well, from my point of view, it's Cameron made a serious mistake. But on the other side, the truth came to the surface. I read a commentary this morning in the internet on the Sunday Times, where the commentator said France, Germany, and the others, they want an ever closer Europe. And we don't want that. Okay, I can live with that. But this means that in this very moment, and this was a historical moment, because if the euro will disintegrate, will fail, the investments of 2 generations of Europeans after the Second World War then must be written off. And this would be devastating. I think not only in economic terms, the majority has never studied the economic consequences, but also the political and social consequences, and definitely in the international political system, Europe would be in the role of a factor of instability and troublemaker again, and for the Europeans this would be devastating. So preserving or keeping the euro alive means keeping the European project alive. It's not any longer a matter of ideology. Now, driven by the crisis, this is a moment of decision. And thank God that the majority of the European leaders move now in that direction. I think the UK will make up its mind. That's not the last position from the United Kingdom. But they have to make up their mind. I think we should be grateful, at least I'm grateful to David Cameron, thank you, David, because if they would have acted in a more clever, typical British way in European policies, usually the Brits acted according to what we can't block, we join and then water down in the process, and using our influence, I mean, to make it more, or to slow it down and water it down. This is now, I mean, Cameron is taken hostage by his backbenchers, the Eurosceptic backbenchers, and that's the reality. And now I think the ball is in the game of domestic politics in the UK, and they have to figure out which role they will play. Of course, Britain belongs to Europe. There's no question about that. And of course, it would be a much stronger European Union with a pro-European UK. Pro-European UK means not that the Brits will change their identity. They won't. None of us will do that. But saying a yes, I mean, in a constructive way, based on their tradition and perspectives and interests to Europe, this would be a much stronger European Union, no question about that, and I wouldn't exclude in a middle-term perspective that this might happen, but only if we succeed with the euro, with the fiscal union, and move into a political union. If this will be successful, I'm sure that, driven by its interests and after a very serious debate at home, the United Kingdom will join.